Hey, what's up, my friends? John Highley here with Tactical Dent TX. I'm going to give you a full tutorial today of how I took out this massive dent on this GMC Yukon front fender. And you can see the entire fender is out of line with the door. The door is actually, when it opens, is touching the fender. So there's a lot of work that we've got to do there to align the very edge of that panel. And also do it in such a way where we don't end up oil canning the dent, and in a way that also complements the crown work at the very top of the panel. I mean, there's crowns everywhere, but the most of the crown is right up there at the very top, that peak. And so just a few angles, you can kind of see the depth of this. Interesting enough, this was an individual that almost got carjacked, an attorney that almost got carjacked, and the individuals who tried to carjack him kicked the front of his fender, trying to get him out of the car. It didn't work. Long story short, without disclosing too much information, there was reasons why they had to back off, and he was left with this fender dent. You could see there I was actually pointing out the edge in that earlier frame just because it's out of line. And if you really watch this, I'm putting an inflatable in there right now, and many of you guys know from my years of tutorials and trainings is that I love using footballs and basketballs inside of the panel. And so what I've got here is a full-size football up top, and I'm putting a mini football in the bottom. And both of these have the stem pointed outward so that I can hook up an air compressor to it and begin inflating these. Now I want you to pay attention to something. Not only are you going to see the dent start to come out, but if you really look closely as these get to the peak while they inflate, you're actually going to see the edge of the panel start to line back up. And you can see here I'm just putting a little bit of pressure. Lots of movement right there. Lots of movement. And you know, these panels, they only have to be out of line a little bit to have that giant gap that you seen earlier when it was up against the door. But as the dent starts to come out of the middle, it's going to start to close that edge in. And that's my primary reason to do this. Yes, I like the idea that it does move a bunch of metal, but what I love more than that is that it's settling that back edge of the panel right back into where it actually belongs. And so I don't have to do a lot of work as far as like hitting the edge or hooking the edge or pulling it. I'm just going to let these inflatables actually do that work for me. One of the reasons I choose to use the basketballs and footballs that cost $5 to $10, you can literally buy them at Walmart, is because if you actually go buy some inflatables in the auto body industry, they can be quite expensive, $300, $400. And the problem with the buying that expensive of an inflatable is occasionally these things will turn on you and you've got to cut them out. I mean, so if this basketball or this football was to turn in where I couldn't get the nozzle, and let's just say it was stuck in there, then I could take a razor blade, cut a hole in it, pull it out, and go buy a new one. Simple as that. And so they work perfect. I got various sizes, large basketball. This one's a small basketball that I'm putting in there. Couldn't really pinpoint that center, so you can see right now that it's just dialing that right in. Really dialing that right in. And the air compressor that I'm using, believe it or not, is just a mini DeWalt. Very small DeWalt. It runs off of the DeWalt batteries, so it's not even plugged into the wall. An incredible amount of power. Look at that. Look at how much metal that actually moved. All right. Beautiful thing about that is you just unhook it and it begins to deflate. Give it a little squish right there and pull it out. Now, so as you guys can see, this moved a lot of metal, but this dent has a ton of work that needs to be done to it. What I love is that it's down to the deepest impact point. I mean, you guys seen how deep this dent was, deepest impact point. And I've also been able to push it up so the crown. So this is the tool that I'm using, by the way. And this is my tactical handle that I'm snapping onto it. So this is the handle that I invented, the tactical T handle. And I love this green tip. I have not been able to blow a hole through it. If any of you guys don't know what that means, that simply means that the metal that's underneath the rubber, if it bursts its way through, you will get yourself a surprise and end up with a tiny little poke mark. And that's what used to happen all the time with the older soft tips, especially when you were applying heat to the panel while you're pushing it. From what I've seen so far and using this tip on so many different repairs, it doesn't blow out in the middle. It works the metal up about like even better than a soft tip. Gives you enough push to be precise, yet also move a lot of metal. And so I love it. This is the one at Anson. If you just call up, tell them you want the green screw-on tip, they'll know what you mean. They also got a pink one that's a little bit smaller, and I tend to use that more as a knockdown. So what you guys can also see is that if you're wondering what all this black tape is on the inside of that panel, well, that's to protect the back of my tool from scratching it. And so I just taped up the entire panel with duct tape. And I always keep an eye on it because you never know. It might burrow a tiny little hole through there. But I put multiple layers on that just in case. So the last thing you want is to be pushing on this bad boy and damaging the inside of the door jamb. That's not what we're here to do. It took me a couple minutes just to tape that area up, making sure that I've got a great place to push and I'm not scratching the inside of the panel. Yes, I know you guys might be thinking most people wouldn't notice that, but guess what? I do, and I don't like it. So here we go. You can see how much metal that actually moved already. Now we're still in the very rough phase of this. I'm still using that green tip on the tip of the tool, and I'm conveniently sitting back here. And I don't even think I know if I mentioned that taking the door off of this thing was quite easy, by the way. The door clips actually just have one of them wiring harnesses that have a lever that pull down, and it just comes right off. Right at the door jamb, it all comes right off, and then I was able to just unbolt the door, put the door on a stand back there behind me. But you can see right now that look how this dent kind of teeter-totters. And it was doing this even at the beginning. Like I'd push at the top and then the bottom would move. So now you're looking at a little bit of knockdown work. And then this is me going in doing a little bit of tighter. And this is the Peak Knockdown, Dead on Dent Tools Peak Knockdown. And this one is actually called the firing pin. So they got two of them that I use most. One of them is called the firing pin. This is the bigger one. And then they got one called the Pee-wee that is even smaller than the firing pin, which I use all the time. And you'll kind of see me switch to that. My firing pin has this orange knockdown on it, and then the Pee-wee is on the green one. And so you can also see that I'm using my Dent Vision slapper there. Now I'm going to switch out. This is one of my favorite ways to knock down straight line crowns is to take a glue stick here, and you can see I'm using my Anson dead blow hammer. I actually use this hammer as a knockdown as well. I use that, you guys seen the Dent Vision paddle. It's like a rubber paddle. I love that thing. It's way better than the wooden paddles. And then using this Anson dead blow hammer. This reminds me of the old school Ding King hammers from way back in the the late 90s, early 2000s. And very good little dead blow hammer there. And you can see I'm just laying that glue stick right there on top of that crease because it's the same size as the crease. And then I'm just hammering the back of it. Now you're going to see me, listen, that was a little mistake. I actually missed and put a little tiny little dot on there twice. Couple missed shots that I had right there. So be careful. Thankfully, I'm a dent technician and I just fix whatever whatever mistakes I make. I'm literally just going to go in right now and fix it and swell it back up to exactly where it needs to be. So although it was a tiny little mistake, hey, it just causes you a couple minutes of extra work, so it's not a big deal. That's the beautiful thing about all the tools we use. They don't mar the panel. They don't damage the clear coat. This right here is that little pink. I was telling you about that knockdown. And this can also be a pushing tip. It's the one that complements the green tip. Again, that's Anson PDR tools. You guys can check that out. I know a lot of people ask in the comments about the tools, so that's the reason why you hear me talking about them. I want to clarify that stuff because for some reason YouTube's really weird about letting me comment on my own videos. I don't know what it is. I think I got to be on the desktop or something. I don't know. So you can see here, just taking that crown down, really nice up there at the top. Now, some people would have started on that crown. That is not the dent was too big for that, in my opinion. You would have just beat a bunch of tiny little holes in it. And it would have been terrible, in my opinion, to work with if I would have started with the crown. Now, if a dent is actually crown dominant, meaning the crown is bigger than the dent, and hitting on that crown actually moves the dent, then I'm definitely going to start there. All right, so you can see just testing that glue on there. These are the Atlas Titan ovals. And, you know, this is a timeless tab right here. I just almost can't even live without this tab. And so it just pulls so strong. So I can't even hardly get it off there. And so what I'm working with and contending with is that edge right there where it was really bent in. You see me point out earlier there was a little scuff on the backside, and that's from the door hitting that edge because that edge was really bent in. And so right now I'm gonna pull it with glue a little bit and see what we can get out with the glue tabs. Occasionally your panel needs a nice little wipe down, y'all. Now I'm going to go ahead and torch it. We're just going to be honest, I forgot to do that before I put my first glue tab on there. The torch, if some of you guys are wondering what the torch is, that actually takes the moisture out of the panel. And so you couldn't really see it on this one. Some of my other videos, you can actually see the moisture just tend to evaporate right when that torch hits it. And that's important when it comes to this glue pulling, because if that panel's got moisture in it, it's not going to stick as well. That glue is not going to adhere as well. That's my Tom Price mini lifter right here. And at some point in this repair, I lose it. I found it later, and I switch over to PDR outlet one. But I really am loving this Tom Price Legends mini lifter. I mean, that thing is just, yeah, I was trying to get used to the pass-through. So it's got a pass-through when it comes to hooking the glue tabs, meaning it's open on both sides. And at first, it was a little weird for me to get used to that, but after getting used to that, I just love it. The thing's a beast. Don't let the appearance fool you. It is the most solid mini lifter I've ever picked up. You can see here just working that edge. This is a rinse and repeat process where I glue pull several times. At a certain point, I do push from another angle. But it's one of them things where I just want to... I'm at the point now where the dent pretty much is stable. I know it's going to be a good repair. It's not going to be something that, you know, I have issues with any further. This now is just about putting in the time. People ask about time. So ended up getting this in on a Thursday, and I worked on it probably a good part of the day on Thursday. I would say probably 6 hours that I worked on it on Thursday, and then I came in Friday morning and I finished it up in about 3 additional hours. So I do have about 9 hours of time in this repair. And you kind of notice that I went in with a Robo Tab, that yellow Robo Tab right there. So that is a quarter size Robo Tab, and these bad boys will pull a house off its foundation. If you ever need to tow a trailer, just stick that to the back of your bumper, hook up a chain to it, and you could tow a trailer with it. I mean, that's how hard these things pull. Kidding, but they do pull really hard. And even the small ones pull hard. But right now I'm looking for a little overcompensation in my pulls. I'm still trying to mold this area out. I'm still trying to get out a deep little center of the damage and over mold it to the point to where it kind of irons out that deepest little pit. I'll tell you guys something funny. We actually call these deep little pits buttholes, because not only are they a butthole to you, but they look round and, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So here we go. Now I am dropping in a Atlas Titan down here at the bottom. This right here was another point. You can see how you see that immediately, like how that went straight out. Now I didn't hit perfect center on this one, but you'll see that I was able to really align that bottom edge. And I'll show you, because I do believe we're going to have to do 2 glue pulls on this with Atlas Titans. You can kind of see that high spot there at the little low down there behind it. So I'm going to top out that high spot up there above. But we've exposed the deepest part of the low, and the good part about this is that this brought up a lot of the dent, and it showed me where that deepest part of that little low was. So now we're going to be able to take an Atlas Titan, drop it right into that. Just perfect. You see how that tab just perfectly fits, the bottom of that tab perfectly fits that damage? That's what you want. That is what you want. So now this is me just checking it. This is me burning my hand with glue. Oh, crap. All right, yep, it's still too hot. Now I'm just checking. I check the edges right there just to make sure it's ready for a pull. There we go. See how that one just completely pulled it out? I always call it bow tying it, because it pulls it into the middle just like a bow tie. And then now I'm going to have to tap out that high spot there. And see, now I'm coming in and using the pink Knockdown. This one moves some serious metal, guys. Moves some serious metal. Guys and gals. There are a lot of gals that are coming into the PDR industry. I'm used to saying guys all the time, but love seeing the presence of all the women in this industry that are not only getting involved, but becoming incredible technicians. I had a buddy of mine, Robert Costello, tell me that a gal named Crystal Yolanda was one of the best tail techs that he's ever seen. And I've never personally worked with her, but I've only heard incredible things. And he says, like, one of the best, and Robert's one of the best technicians I've ever seen. So, there you go. All right, so here you go. You can see me just taking that right there was a double bend tool, old school tool. I believe that tool is a PDQ tool. Some of you old timers will know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I haven't seen PDQ for probably 20 years in the industry, maybe 17 years. But I bought that from PDQ back in the day. That was the first tool that I actually bought outside of my actual tool set that I originally got. I believe the original tool set that I got was purchased from PDQ. And so I ended up going out, and once I broke a few tools and broke them in and needed new ones, I ended up buying some more from there. And these are still some of my favorite tools. Some of these old tools you'll see me use. I mean, you'll see me use my hub tools, snapping on the hub handle, but there's times when I just can't get away from what I actually started with, which was technically these PDQ tools. You can see here after picking it, I mean, this is lots of picking, guys. I saved you a lot of time there because I had to just keep picking and picking and picking until eventually I was able to pick it pretty clean. Now at this point, I'm going to go in and do a little bit of a wet sand and a polish. Usually on dents that are this severe, you're going to wet sand them. Now this is 2000 grit sandpaper that's probably been used 200 times. So who knows what grit it is, probably 3,000 by now. And so I am actually using Koschemi clay bar solution. And so I found this works really well for wet sanding, is using their clay bar solution, because it's really meant to slick that panel down while you're spraying it on there, and it just keeps that paper on there evenly. And yes, I do hand sand. I know how to do it. I've had a lot of luck with it, and it's just how I roll. And you guys will see here how great it looks. And this is me using the Rupes polisher. A lot of people always ask me about this. This is Rupes. Some of my earlier videos, for some reason, I thought it was called Rupees, but it's since then I've found out that the name of the polisher or the name of the brand is Rupes. And what you're seeing right there is I use Koschemi now. I'm using a lot of Koschemi, which is a German brand, and that is their rubbing compound. It is freaking incredible. Not only does it have a beautiful cut to it, but it actually has a polishing agent in it as well. It's just so good. Now I went on to do 3 steps on this vehicle, but I'm just going to keep the tutorial short and just show you one. So now you guys see me cross-checking for the very first time. For the very first time, this is me looking at it from a totally different direction. And here in just a moment, after doing some of my knockdown work from this cross-check point, which is mainly what we needed up here. Lots of knockdown work from this particular angle, but you're also going to see me do a little bit of glue pulling, and then I'm even going to go in and do some pushing from this angle to finish the dent out. Notice how I keep going back to that edge, because that edge gave me trouble the whole repair. Now, I knew it was doable, and I knew we were going to be able to get it out. It's just every time I turned around, I would pull it up and then knock it down, and it would fall back down, and then I would pull it up and I would knock it down, and it would fall back down. Knowing that eventually I was going to get it, this cross-check angle is actually what I needed to finish it up. And a cross-check, for those of you who don't know, is basically looking at the dent from a different angle, usually from the complete other side like you see in this video, although you can look at it from up above, from down below, from anywhere. Imagine 360 degrees around the clock. However you're looking at and pushing that dent is a cross-check angle. Now you see I found a little low in this body line. I'm just pulling that up. Just a tiny little low. Yes, I could have pushed it, but guys, I keep hearing everybody say, why don't you push it? Why don't you push it? I'm a glue puller, y'all. I love doing some glue pulling, and it's just my style. So there. I could have pushed it up, but I decided to glue pull it. All right. So here we go. Doing a little bit of knockdown work in that area that I just glue pulled on that body line. Again, from this cross-check angle. And I apologize. I wish I could have got a little further back, but on this particular repair, I was tucked away next to my toolbox, and we had a bunch of other cars in here, so we're trying to squeeze in as much space as possible until we move into the other facility, which will be next week. Just so you guys know, I am tripling the size of our facility. Well, I'm keeping the one that I'm in right now. I actually just leased the next door, and so the place that I'm in right now is 1,500 square foot. Next door is 3,500 square foot, so we're going to be a total of 5,000 square foot by January 5th, 2026. And so the other one has a huge shop and has a great lobby. Okay, so you guys can see down to the nitty-gritty that I'm actually down to right now. I'm literally picking up tiny little dots. Some of you guys have said in my previous, like, how do you get rid of all them dots? Well, guess what, guys? This is part of PDR. This is part of finishing. It is an aggressive game of connect the dots is what I'm playing here. And then you can see here, very, very nice for what we were working with. I mean, guys, this is a massive dent. And then right here is the finished result. Now, would I say it's absolutely flawless? Probably not, but I would say it is. You take this bad boy out, you look at it from any angle, the door matches now, it's the line is back in. This is about as good as it gets when it comes to a massive dent removal that we were dealing with. That being said, y'all, I appreciate you guys for coming along on this training today, and as usual, I'm going to see you on the next one.